So I do appreciate the patience here. But it is January 2026, and I'm going to do something that I think could really come back and bite me in the butt. But, there is just something about putting your thoughts and your ideas out there. I've never done this style of show before, but I am going to do something and put my reputation on the line. I am going to share my top 5 predictions for 2026. And when I say my top 5 predictions for 2026, I am actually going to get specific here. People always roast me because I could never say the word specific. I say Pacific, but whatever. That just happens when you grow up in the hood. Nonetheless, I'm going to get very specific with my top 5 predictions for the year. And I'm going to share some company names on this as well. Some of these I do know. Some of these predictions that I have will upset somebody here. And it is okay because these are just my thoughts on how this year is going to look. So we just be prepared for that. Y'all on this journey with me. Some people are going to like it. Some people are going to hate my ideas because it's going to go against theirs. But that's what we're here for. If we all had the same opinions, this thing would be very boring. But here's the thing. I'm not just going to tell you what I think will happen. I'm actually going to tell you and show you why. So you can go back and forth with me there. But at the end of the day, you will know the data, the patterns, and the logic behind each and every single one of these ideas. And that is how I think we can start this year off right. Because whether or not you agree with me, you will have an opinion that you can, noodle on, decide, and, decide to accept or reject. But by the end of this episode, you will know exactly how I am positioning myself, how we're positioning ourselves at Benson for 2026 as well. And Bentley Ben, we got a nice one here. Take a guess. Bentley Ben said he'll take a guess at one of them. Give me your best prediction that you think I'm going to cover. And I'll let you know if you are actually right. Bentley Ben, I'll give you a few seconds here. But if anybody else has predictions for any predictions that they think I am going to cover in this episode, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Jean Mark Charles, no, that prediction is not correct. Somebody said Exxon, nope. Oil prices, no. I'm glad that you guys have listened to the daily podcast today to hear what the daily podcast was about. But no, the daily podcast actually has nothing to do with today's prediction. And when I say prediction, I'm talking about the high level all year. We got one person so far. 1.5. So 1.5 people got one of the predictions. Stephanie went very broad. She said tech. Yes, of course. You got that one right. That one is for sure. So we actually got like 2.5. Somebody said gold. Good guesses. But nah, that was like last year. And to be honest, gold wasn't even the top one last year. It was actually silver. So if you are on Benson and you own that stock that start with an A, you did better than gold. So we got Gerald Bennett that said data centers and AI. Yes, we're getting close. I'm jumping straight into it, y'all. What's up, everybody? Everybody that's new here, I'm Philip Aubrey. This is the 15th episode of the Benson Report. For those that are new here, I'm the CEO of Benson AI. What we do is we use AI to do all of your investing for you all automatically. And on top of that, we share the research with you so that you can decide if you agree or not. But nonetheless, we'll handle everything all automatically. And the Benson Report is where we come to share, talk, discuss, learn, and really kind of go back and forth. Today's episode, I am going to be calling out my top 5 predictions for 2026. And I'm going to walk you through each of them one by one. This is not where I'm going to just rattle them off and then you got to figure out, what I'm actually talking about. We're jumping into some details here. But nonetheless, you will have a good opportunity to say, hey, I agree or I don't. But nonetheless, I just want to share my ideas. Aloha AI? No, none of those are correct. So we are jumping straight into it. My number one prediction for the year, and I'm going in order, 1 to 5. So we got 5 predictions. The first prediction of the year is straight into it, baby. Google becomes the most important AI company of 2026. And it's not even close. I'll say that again. Google becomes the top and most important AI company of 2026. Now, I know what you're thinking. Most people are naturally going to say, well, what about OpenAI? Not Anthropic, not Meta. Yes, all true. Google becomes the number one and most important AI company of 2026. And let's jump into some numbers here. Gemini, which is Google's AI tool, now has over 650 million monthly active users. Back in November of 2025, Google came out, dropped Gemini 3. That put them in a whole nother category in terms of just how excited we are about Google. And granted, we have been buying Google all 2025 anyway, but by November time, Google made it very clear, hey, they're not here to play. They dropped Gemini 3 as of November. They were pushing in roughly 650 million monthly users, which is just absolutely insane. But that's not even the kicker. On top of that, Google AI overviews right now, aka through their Google search, is essentially reaching roughly 2 billion with a B. Y'all know I got a little lazy tongue. 2 billion monthly users. Absolutely insane. And then another thing, and this is the part where I don't think people are connecting the dots. It's not just that it's Google. It's that they have a distribution that nobody else comes close to. Think about this from a high level. Google owns Android. That's about 3 billion devices. B, again, they own Gmail, which is about 1.8 billion users. They also own YouTube, which is about 2.5 billion users. And guess what? Gemini 3 is integrated across all of them. Every single one of those products, Gemini 3. Now, why is that so important? Number one, I want to explain just how big distribution is. Distribution is really the game here. But back in 2025, January 2025, a Chinese company called DeepSeek released their models that came out to compete with ChatGPT 4o at that time. That model was trained using roughly $6 million, not $100 million. And they used about essentially a tenth of the computing power of Meta's Llama 3. It proved that essentially you don't need to be the most competitive or the most, fancy company to build a competitive model. Instead, what it told us is just that if you can build a great model, no one really cares. In fact, your main job is actually to get that model in the hands of consumers. You think about all of the apps out there right now. The reason why you love the apps that you, did I say 2025 somewhere? If I did, I am so sorry. But top predictions for 2026, yes. But when you think about all the apps that you love, you use on your phone, it's really difficult for you to switch off and go to another model or another app. It's the same thing with these tools, which is when you are holding them or you have them in front of your hands, it is very difficult for you to switch and go anywhere else. But Google has this secret, which is they can roll AI out in front of over 9-10 billion people all at once. Everybody that is using YouTube as an example. Gemini is implemented directly into the search. Anytime somebody goes through and goes to google.com to search for something, Gemini directly integrated into the search. Anytime somebody is using an Android, directly built into the tool or the phone. So again, Google has this distribution that nobody else can get. Google has over like 10 billion active users every single month using their products. There are not many other companies that have a sort of social print the way Google has on everyone. If you are a person right now, I can guarantee that you use Google at least once, maybe twice a week. So when we talk about why they are so important, it's yes, their model is good. Yes, we love the model, but it's the fact that they can get in front of roughly 10 billion people at the drop of a dime. At the drop of a dime. Whereas ChatGPT, as an example, cannot do that. ChatGPT does have a lot of users. I won't argue that. But in order to get your mother or your grandmother to use ChatGPT is going to be a whole different ball game. But everybody knows Google. Everybody's going to be using Google without even noticing that they're using AI because it is built directly into the product. And when AI starts to feel like your normal user experience, it becomes a whole different ballgame. And there's only like one or two companies that have the luxury of doing that. One of them, by the way, I think is a terrible company, not a part of my predictions, but I really wish Apple did a better job of rolling AI out to their customers, because outside of Google, the only other thing that we touch every single day is our iPhone. And unfortunately, Apple has done a terrible job of rolling AI out to everyone on these iPhones. They are like 2.5 years behind. Google, on the other hand, is actually delivering. I fundamentally think that Google is going to be one of the most important AI companies of 2026. Now, some people are going to argue, of course, no, not more important than ChatGPT. Yes, ChatGPT does have the brand. I will never argue that. But to be fair, I'll give them that. That is a very important point. Other people are also going to argue that, Meta with their open source model has the luxury of trying to compete with Google. Not even close. You only use the Meta tools by accident. You never do it on purpose. I have never met a person that was just like, wow, let me go and use Facebook's AI. Like, no one ever has said that. So absolutely not. Now, where I push back on ChatGPT is just that OpenAI actually has to fundraise every single time they want to release a big feature, for lack of better words. Google, on the other hand, can release models as an experiment to about 10 billion people. And more importantly, they have very deep pockets. They don't have to go out and fundraise and beg people for money in order to test this out with roughly 10 billion people. They have all of these other businesses that are printing a lot of money. So because they have those businesses that are printing a lot of money, they have the luxury of going out to explore and experiment for free. For free. Google can do all of that for free. I think, as an example, Google's AI overviews is reaching about 2 billion users every single month. And I am frustrated. I'm frustrated that no one is talking about how big of a deal that actually is. That is 2 billion users every single month are now interacting with AI before they even realize it's AI. They are asking and talking back directly to Gemini 3 before they even typed in the word like, help me solve this problem using AI. That is the mental hurdle for a lot of people. They feel like AI is like terrifying, so they're like, I can't do it. I'm not capable. But what if, and which is what we're already seeing, it's just built into what you already do. Every time you go in Google, search a question, it's just built in. Every time you open your email using Gmail, it's just built in. If you're on an Android, it's just built in. If you're on YouTube, it's just built in. There's no other company on earth that has the luxury of building in AI in that way and has been able to do it actually well. Again, I said do it actually well because Apple has not. Now, what does this mean for everybody who is investing? This brings up a bigger, more important point. Infrastructure and distribution beat application. I'll say that again. Infrastructure and distribution beats applications. Instead of trying to pick which AI model is going to win, consider exposure to the companies that will win regardless of which model wins. Google grows whether or not Gemini 4, GPT-5 is better on benchmarks. Why? Because they own distribution. This is exactly the framework that we are using at Benson, which is no matter what, we want to buy the companies that are going to win regardless. Every company will not win, but there are some companies that will benefit as long as AI is growing. And Google is absolutely one of those people or players. So rather than trying to say, hey, this is absolutely going to be the single best stock for AI, we're saying, hey, no matter what, we think Google is going to benefit from this AI wave. Now, Will just asked a question. Does that mean buy the stock? One, if you own the S&P 500, you already own the stock. I'll be very clear there. Two, no smart investor goes and YOLO in all at once. That is not smart. Not smart at all. Three, if you're on Benson, we're handling 99% of this for you. I think the problem is, and this is something that I realized for 2025. The problem is that I can tell you exactly T for T what our top companies are, and most people still won't get as good of returns as we are over here at Benson. And it's because it's not the information that is valuable. That's one part of it. It is knowing what to do with that information, knowing when to buy, when to sell, when to double down and buy aggressively. All of those points, or even knowing how to size your position. All of those things are incredibly important. And in my opinion, those are far more important than just knowing what a good stock is. But to answer your question, Will, no, that does not mean just go out and buy Google. That means if you like Google, maybe consider it. If you can size it appropriately on your own without Benson, maybe consider it. If you are comfortable with the risk associated with it, because again, this is heavily connected to AI, consider it. But that is what I would say. But of course, Will, you're on Benson, so you don't really have to worry too much there. We got that covered. We'll be buying, selling, and buying more and doubling down every single week, all automatically. So you don't really have to worry there, Will. But for the general people here, what to do with that information? I'll leave that up to you. Now I will say, fair warning, do not go and try to YOLO into any stock. That is not smart. That is not how smart people play this game. Smart people look at this very differently. But with that said, Google is still what I believe is going to be one of the top winners for AI in 2026. Now, with that said, number 2 takes us to a completely different direction. Now, this is where I just know some people are not going to like this one, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay. So understand, before you start trying to chew me out, I don't care. I sat on this one for a cool minute and it said like, hey, should I say this out loud? Any guesses before I reveal what this one is? Any guesses? Because it's controversial. Any guesses on what this prediction number 2 is? Before I say it, prediction number 2. It is not a stock, by the way. I'll start there. I'll give you a hint. It's not a stock. Bing, 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 bing. We got an answer. It is absolutely related to Tesla. So the prediction is not actually about Tesla. It's about Elon Musk. I think for 2026, tech Elon is going to crap on political Elon. And sentiment around Elon is going to completely flip. I know that people hate Elon Musk right now, but my prediction is that by the end of 2026, people are going to love Elon Musk again. Here's what's actually happening on the ground. All of us nerds, we see it coming from a mile away. All of us investors, we are incredibly excited about it. But this is about to be a comeback year for Elon Musk. You're going to completely forget about all of the crap he did last year. Because I know half of America hates this guy. The other half is just like, hey, he makes cool technology. But Elon Musk is back on his bully. He's back focused on what actually matters. And I don't want to hear Elon Musk's opinion on politics. I'm like, bro, I've never thought you were a thought leader there. But you do know how to build technology. You do know how to build $1 trillion companies. You do know how to send rockets into space, deploy satellites, and catch those rockets before they hit the ground. You do know how to build a chip that is centered in your brain that gives paralyzed people the ability to interact with computers, but you don't have a strong thought leadership in politics. And because he is now back focused on technology, I think we are all, as a country, going to be reminded of just how beast this guy actually is. And the way I see this happening is very freaking clear. Number one, Tesla full self-drive. The robotaxi network launched in August in 2025 with vehicles now operating without humans in the car. I'll say that another way. Tesla is rolling out full self-drive, meaning there is no human in the front seat, driving around Austin, crushing it, absolutely crushing it. Full self-drive has been expanded to 3 continents already. And in 2026, Tesla is targeting unsupervised full self-drive deployment. Said otherwise, their big goal is to say, hey, you will sit in the passenger seat of your own car while it drives you around. And they are really good at that. But that's not all. Like, it's not just Tesla. Of course, another thing that everybody here is already privy to. We are talking about SpaceX. Elon Musk confirmed in December of 2025 that SpaceX is planning to do an IPO. For those who are not nerds, SpaceX is the number 1 company right now in the world that is able to shoot rockets up into space, deploy satellites at mass scale, and catch that rocket, and then shoot that same rocket back into the sky in less than 24 hours. SpaceX is responsible for getting out roughly 90% of all satellites into space that come from America. That is insane. When you look at SpaceX compared on a global stage, they account for roughly 60, if I'm correct, somebody fact check me there, roughly 60% of all space deployments. 60%, 60, globally. On top of that, Bloomberg is saying that they are planning to IPO in 2026, roughly at $1.5 trillion. They are aiming to be essentially the biggest IPO in history. To be very clear, for those who don't understand just how big of a deal this is going to be the second company ran by Elon Musk that is world class. Tesla, regardless of whether or not you like a Tesla, Tesla is still world class. No one comes close to the amount of miles driven by a Tesla, supervised. But 2, he has also built the most important space exploration company. And if it IPOs this year, it is likely going to be the single largest IPO in human history. To put this into perspective, last year, SpaceX launched 3,000 Starlink satellites into space alone. Right now, SpaceX has roughly 9,000 satellites in orbit all around Earth. And they're only getting faster. They're only getting better. And it's only getting cheaper for them to do. They are estimated to have done roughly 15 billion with a B dollars in revenue in 2025. And in 2026, they're aiming for roughly $25 billion in revenue. That is a lot of technology progress. When it hits the stock market that Elon Musk now just again brought another phenomenal company to the public stock market for everyone else to chew on, to also make money off of. That's when everybody's going to start forgetting that Elon Musk is the guy that annoyed half of the country in 2025. They're going to be like, man, oh yeah, I forget that this guy's actually smart. What I tend to believe is just that public sentiment towards Elon Musk has been incredibly polarizing. Depending on which media you consume, he's either a visionary builder or he's a controversial political figure. And that division has affected Tesla's stock. And SpaceX, perception. But here's the thing about public memory that I love, frankly, is that it's short. One moment we are worried about whether or not we are going into a tariff war with policy. Now we're over here, kidnapping presidents from Venezuela. We're not even talking about China anymore. We didn't already forgot, for lack of better words, what happened in China. We are now looking at, oh crap, we might be going to war. What does this look like? Oh crap, we forgot all the turmoil from earlier this year. And what that does, it allows Elon Musk to recreate himself and remind the entire world why he is that guy in terms of technology, not in terms of politics, but in terms of technology. He's actually that guy. Now, I want to bring you back to something that you may have forgotten about, because you may not believe me when I say, oh, we all forget things. Do y'all remember in 2009, what happened with Kanye West? By the way, Kanye West 2009, there was a big deal. Does anybody remember what that big deal was? Any guesses? Janice, good to see you. Any guesses what happened with Kanye West back in 2009 that we all have forgotten about? Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses? Nah, I won't belabor it. In 2009, Kanye West was drinking a bottle of Hennessy, went on stage and told Taylor Swift that she did not deserve that award that she got. I want you to, if you can remember that moment, I want you to remember just how shocked the entire world was. Kanye West went on stage drunk as a black man, drunk on stage, and was just like, Taylor Swift, the sweetheart of America, you don't deserve that. A black man that is drunk on stage telling a white lady, you don't deserve that. Why is that so important? What people may not realize is that after that, Kanye West went into a hole. He pretty much disappeared for like a whole year. He disappeared for a whole year. And then what did he do? He came out with the album that changed the entire music industry. In my opinion, that is single-handedly the best album that is the best album of my generation. Kanye West, right after that Taylor Swift thing, disappeared for a year, and then he dropped My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Critically acclaimed, commercially successful. Do y'all remember My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy had a whole movie. He dropped a movie with the ballet, with the ballerinas in the factory. He had movie like clips. It was like an hour long. It was a big deal. By the way, that was his version of like the Trapped in the Closet. If y'all are old enough, the first person to have done it was R. Kelly. He dropped a movie for like the Trapped in the Closet. Kanye West came out and dropped a masterpiece and said, hey, this is why I'm that guy. You love me because I make music that you cannot deny. He completely made us forget about the Taylor Swift thing. Now, Kanye West is in a whole different category, but nonetheless, public memory is short. We're going to look at 2025, and we are going to completely forget how much Elon Musk pissed off half of the country. And instead, we are going to be reminded that, oh crap, we forgot that this guy is actually a big deal. This guy does know technology. He does know how to build trillion-dollar companies, and he's done it multiple times. That is the thing. And in 2026, there is like release after release after release. Elon Musk is essentially about to drop My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy for technology. He's about to drop a company and put it on the public stock market where regular people now own a portion of space exploration. And whether or not you think that's cool, I don't care. What I do know is just that most of the world thinks this is cool. Most of the world realizes that there is 2 or 3 people who can do this well, and Elon Musk has a huge head start. The name of that company is SpaceX. And if everything goes well, he is going to be releasing SpaceX to the public markets. And on top of that, he's going to be releasing full self-drive, where you are going to start seeing taxi or robo taxis or Teslas drive around without humans driving them. You're going to look around and be like, bro, this guy is the same guy who sent a rocket into space, put it on the stock market, released these Teslas that are all driving themselves. You're like, bro, 2026 is about to be a real exciting year. So my number 2 prediction is just that by the end of 2026, Elon Musk, his, all the Elon hate is actually going to be reversed. People are either going to feel neutral or very positively about him, but you are not going to see people talking, oh yeah, I hate that guy. Instead, you're going to see people talking about all the technology that he's releasing. Because again, he's going into his hole to remind you that he actually knows how to build technology, not politics, but technology. And that's what I like Elon for. He's smart. I don't want to hear anything about what you're doing in terms of politics, but you're smart in terms of technology. And I think a simple analogy outside of the Kanye West one, another analogy that comes to mind for we tend to make space for people who provide value. I feel like everybody every black person at least has that uncle or that cousin that be posting weird stuff on Facebook. You already thought, I said it once and you already have a person in your head. You have that one person that you're like, I don't want to look at any of your posts on Facebook. I just know you about to do something. You about to post something that's about to annoy me. You about to say something where I'm like, bruh, how are we related? And then that same cousin is probably going to say something that at Thanksgiving that's going to really annoy you again. But then at the same time, that's the same cousin that's going to check anybody who says something negative about his auntie or his mom. That's going to be the same cousin that's going to pick you up in the middle of the night when you stranded somewhere. And then that's the same cousin where you're going to be able to hit them up and ask for $100 and they're going to give it to you. You'll be reminded that all right. This is why I love that cousin. I don't like what you do on Facebook. I don't like all all those silly posts on Facebook, but I do know that I can call on you when I need your help. I do know that you're gonna check somebody for coming at me disrespectfully. Everybody got that cousin. I think Elon Musk is that cousin. I don't want to hear anything you got to say about politics, my guy. Shut up. That's just me personally. But when you talk about technology, hey, making money, hey, I'm all ears. Put me on. That's the year that Elon Musk is about to have. Now, again, I know half of the people here are like, bruh, I hope that you're wrong because I hate Elon Musk, and that's fine. But by the end of 2026, my video will be out on YouTube. You will be able to see this on YouTube, and we will be able to say, was I right or was I incorrect about this? But I do believe that SpaceX is going to completely override how we think about Elon Musk. When we start seeing all of these Teslas driving around unsupervised, let me rewind a little bit. Because it's not just unsupervised. I spoke about the SpaceX. I didn't tell you just how big of a deal a car driving itself is. Tesla has 6.9 billion miles of supervised full self-drive data. I'll say that again because that's really hard to wrap our minds around, and y'all know I talk a little bit funny. Tesla has 6.9 billion with a B miles of full self-drive data. Every single time you see a Tesla driving, all that data is rolled up directly into Tesla, the entire company. They measure how every single person drives. Why? Because then they are able to create, for lack of better words, a massive AI factory that says these are all of the 1,000 rules that Teslas should abide by when they're driving. You see a little ball rolling across the street. You can assume that a kid is going to follow it, so stop. You see a red light ahead of you. We've seen, again, this 6.9 billion times. Stop when you see the red light. Now, why is that so interesting? One, no other company, quite literally, no other company on earth has as much data about the way that people drive. But two, what you start to do is you start to build a system that only focuses on the way that the best drivers drive. And those best drivers create the rules for every other Tesla. That is essentially what's happening. Every single mile driven by a Tesla is recorded to improve the overall collective brain. And why is this so exciting at a high level? Because Teslas are actually safer than regular drivers. If you had to do the math, for every 175,000 miles driven by a human, there's an accident. So 1 for 175,000 miles driven. For a Tesla, there's 1 accident for every 682,000 miles driven. All that to say, you are like 4 or 5 times safer in a Tesla than you are driving yourself. I don't care how confident you are about your driving skills. You lose attention. You get distracted. You see a nice car over there and you totally stop looking ahead of yourself. You get sleepy and close your eyes for a little bit on a long road trip. You start texting while you're driving. Teslas don't do any of that. Instead, they got 8 cameras all around the car in 360 view. They're not only watching how you drive, they're watching how other people drive and saying, hey, we can anticipate the idiot who's going to try to swerve in front of us. When you start putting that into a system that learns and gets smarter, you are now going to wake up in 2026 and realize these Teslas are fully driving themselves. Your friend is going to buy a Tesla in 2026, and that Tesla is going to drive from, I don't know, Austin to Dallas with no person driving it. It's going to be driving itself. And you're going to be on the freeway like, who the heck is driving that Tesla? If you are in Atlanta, if you're in San Francisco, if you're in LA, you've already likely seen it. But the rest of the country is going to start seeing it in 2026. It's insane. I cannot wait to hear how a 65-year-old person reacts when they are driving and a Tesla pulls up next to them. They look over and ain't nobody in the car. Imagine how your mom or your cousin on Facebook is going to describe that situation. They pull up to the light, look over. There's a Tesla. Beautiful. Red, I don't know, looking nice. No person in the front seat. It's going to be a whole different world. We're going to start seeing that in 2026. Now, what does that mean for you as an investor? Does that mean you go and buy Tesla? No. Tesla is a very volatile company. Tesla. I love that question. I'm going to get to that. Tesla is a very volatile company. It's going to be incredibly bumpy. That is not a company that most people can stomach. Do I own Tesla? Absolutely. But again, I have a high risk tolerance. I'm willing to hold Tesla for the next 10 years. So it works for me. It may not work for you. Consider that for yourself. Somebody said a really good question. Maddie 1760 said, it's fine. But look what happened when the street signals went out in San Francisco. Maddie, that's a really great point. But now that has happened. You don't think all of that was recorded for Tesla? You don't think Tesla then turned around and said, oh, cool. We now know how to operate with these sort of situations. Every single accident means that there is now a system of record. There's documentation. And now that all updates the entire brain. And let's be very, very clear. You have idiots, regular people who don't know what to do when the stoplights go out. So it ain't no different. But one of them gets smarter every single time it records an accident. An accident doesn't mean car accident. I mean like street accident. Like lights are out, potholes. Like every single one of those accidents updates the collective brain. It's going to be wild, Maddie. It don't matter. It don't matter if those street lights go out because, guess what? They likely built a scenario to say, cool. Now, when street lights go out, you need to look at the other cars around you. Measure what they are doing. If these 2 cars went, it is now your turn. Inch out there slowly, but make sure no idiot is trying to cross in front of you. All those sorts of things. If you had to teach your daughter or son how to drive, you would literally you'd have to be in the passenger seat explaining it to them. Like, look here. Here's what to look out for. All of those things, all recorded now. There's a robot that does it all for you. And every single mile that is driven is more information, more information, more information. GSC just mentioned that it does it all. He has a Tesla and he does not drive. So I want you to understand that as you listen to these accidents, and again, I'm using accidents broadly. Accidents, understand that every single one makes the entire collective system smarter. That is the big difference. Whereas we as regular people, some people just don't learn from their mistakes. Some people going to be an aggressive driver until they're 50 years old. Some people going to be like, I don't care about cutting people off. I'm just going to constantly do it. They don't learn, they don't change. But guess what? This technology does based on how we want it to change. So if you had to say, if I had to put my money, and again, Maddie, I don't even know, and I'm saying, like, if I had to put my money on, your dad driving me around, my mom driving me around, my mentor who I love, my uncle who is like my father figure, if I had to put money on all of the people I love and respect to the utmost, if I had to put money on them driving me around or a Tesla, it's a clear decision. I don't care who that person is, buddy. It's the Tesla every single day. When you sit in that Tesla and then you realize that, oh crap, I sat back and crossed my arms and that thing drove me 6 hours, which, by the way, it has done for me. You're like, bro, this is wild. Just wait till the rest of the world sees it. Think about all the people who go out on New Year's, get drunk, and then decide to drive home. Well, guess what? If they got a Tesla driving them, and to be fair, you still got to be responsible. You should not be drinking and driving, even if you do have a Tesla. But nonetheless, sit in the passenger seat. Sit in the passenger seat. Tell your partner who could barely drive to click that button to turn on full self-drive. And now what? You got an escort back home. It's going to be a wild year as soon as the world starts to recognize this. And some people already know. Some people have Teslas. I don't have one yet, but I will buy one eventually when I could afford it. When I could afford it, yeah. I'm getting a Tesla. Because every time I do a road trip, I'm renting a Tesla. I love it. I got to do all the driving when I'm in the car with my fiance. Well, I got to do the driving all the time. It's a game changer. But wait until you see it yourself. All these things are going to lead to Elon Musk being, his sentiment changing. Now, let's jump on to prediction number 3. Prediction number 3. Any guesses on what prediction number 3 is? Any guesses? Prediction number 1 was Google becomes one of the most important AI companies. Prediction number 2 is that Elon Musk has a full reversal and people are reminded of why they like him. Prediction number 3 is none other than Meta. I want to talk about this. And I want to slow down here because this is a very nuanced one. Meta, the company that owns Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. I want to be very, very clear when I say this. I think this is going to be an absolutely terrible year for the company Meta. Now, does that mean you go out and sell all of your Meta? Absolutely not. I'll start there. But I think this is going to be a completely lost year for Meta. This is not going to be a year where they come out and they do something that blows our mind. Meta does have massive, massive distribution. They own the most important social networks on earth: Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. And yet, I think it is going to be a very boring year for them. Now, I want to rewind a little bit and explain some of this. In April of 2025, Meta came out and launched Llama 4. It was by far the most lukewarm release of any of the big tech companies. Lukewarm reception was their words, not mine. June 2025, Meta comes out and they spent $14.3 billion to hire one person pretty much. That was in June. They hired this man named Alexander Wang. They bought his company, invested roughly $14.3 billion in that company. But the CEO and founder had to quit to come and join Meta. So they bought one person for $14 billion. In August of 2025, I don't know if y'all remember this, but in August of 2025, Meta went on a hiring spree. They started poaching everyone. $1 million to you, $2 million to you, $10 million to you. And then right after that, they had to pause all of their hiring. October of 2025, Meta comes out and slash 600 AI jobs in their AI division. December of 2025, they came out and said, hey, that model we were supposed to release, we are not ready to release. I'm sorry. 11 out of the 14 original AI researchers at Meta have left. Their chief product officer, I think his name was like Chris Cox, no longer oversees AI. Reports are also saying that they're going to go from open source to closed source. That, to me, when I hear all of that, is a company that is not executing a clear strategy. Instead, they are hunting for direction. And I think 2026 is going to be that year where Meta is like, meh. They are not going to release anything that I think is going to be crazy insane. They are not going to be able to keep up with the other big players. And to be fair, I do own a lot of Meta. I'll be very transparent when I say that. I do personally own a lot of Meta. But I don't think 2026 is going to be the year where that Meta stock goes up. I think it's going to be pretty meh for Meta in 2026. And to be fair, Meta does have a lot of advantages. They have distribution through Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. They have a lot of money. They are planning to spend another 70, maybe $73 billion in 2026. But they have moved aggressively without a clear plan. They hired dozens of researchers at crazy salaries and then paused hiring and in fact start cutting people. They have restructured multiple times and now they're pivoting their entire model strategy. I want you to compare that to Google. Google is plugging AI into every product that people already use. They're releasing it to about 9 billion people at the drop of a dime. Their Google Gemini already has 650 million people using it every single month. Meta is still trying to figure out what AI products to even build. Even like their new glasses that they released this year, the ones with the like screen on the inside, delayed, was not working. People are not buying it. Meta is still in that exploration phase in terms of like AI and how they roll it out. Google, on the other hand, dominating with getting AI in the hands of actual people. So to everybody that's going to ask the question, what does that mean? That means think critically about whether or not you are a long-term investor. How do you feel if Meta is flat or even slightly negative for the year? For me, I'm fine with it. I don't invest for 12 months. I invest for 12 years. I'm fine with it. But I have to level set my expectations. I don't want to go into 2026 thinking that Meta is going to have a blowout year and then be sad when it hits, 10% returns. And to be fair, 10% returns is good for most people. But I like to level set my expectations. And I had to have a real conversation with myself, my data, to say, cool, what does it really look like for Meta this year? And the best way to say it is Meta meh. Hopefully I'm wrong. I will be very happy if I'm wrong. But this one, I'm like, I don't see how. Leadership is struggling. The company doesn't have direction. They are trying to figure it out. And to be fair, Google had a crazy comeback. So it's possible. But it was very strong leadership. I think Mark is having a tough time with, his accountability partners having left. And AI is a space where you need to ship, you need to experiment, and you need to continue trying. And you need to be aggressive with it. So I think the year for Meta is going to be very meh. Now, another one. Prediction number 4. We're getting close, y'all. We got 2 more predictions. We're on prediction number 4. Any guesses on what company this prediction is about? Very popular company, by the way. So let's stop with the stocks that Benson has shared with you. Very, very popular company. Negative. People hate it. I think they are going to have a complete reversal as well. People don't hate Nvidia. People don't hate Robinhood. What other guesses? Think about it. It was like on conspiracy Facebook. Like when you open up Facebook, you saw somebody having a conspiracy about this company. You saw Javon, bing, 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 conspiracy corner coming to the front. Palantir. I think all the conspiracy theorists about Palantir are going to be very silent for the year of 2026. The sentiment around Palantir is going to go from controversial surveillance company to patriotic American AI champion. This is probably up there in terms of like spiciness with my Elon Musk prediction. Elon Musk, I'm saying, hey, he's going to go from hated to loved. I think Palantir is also going to go from hated to loved. And to be fair, if you owned Palantir, you were very happy for 2025. But you also got to acknowledge that Palantir was one of those companies where you had to say, hey, I may not talk about it too much because I know that, somebody is going to be, Palantir is killing the world. They're putting surveillance on all of us. They are, selling our data to Big Brother. All the conspiracies came out of the woodworks. But this year, I think that is going to completely change. And let me make it very clear for why. But first, let's talk about the numbers. July 2025, Palantir landed a $10 billion with a B dollar contract with the Army. That is their single largest known contract ever. It consolidates 75 contracts into one enterprise deal. May 2025, their Maven smart system brought in an additional $1.3 billion. Q3 of 2025, the U.S. commercial revenue grew 121% year over year. That's not government, that's enterprises and companies buying Palantir products. 2025 overall, the stock more than doubled. But here's where things get interesting. Nobody looking at Palantir ever thought that they would have a problem with money. Everybody knows Palantir brings in the money. Nobody ever questioned that. Palantir has a perception problem. The conspiracy theorists are like, oh yeah, they're building a surveillance company. Big Brother is watching us. Let's rewind a bit. I don't know where you live, but I can guarantee you there's a camera with or without Palantir that is watching you all the time. The little Ring doorbell cameras watching you. The streetlight cameras watching you. All the buildings you walk into all have cameras. Like, people love to pretend that cameras did not exist before Palantir. And I hear it, but like, let's be very honest. If the government wanted you, bro, we are on TikTok. We'd be walking down the street posting our locations. What made you think that Uncle Sam couldn't find you in the first place? Like, where did this idea that we had privacy come from? If Uncle Sam wanted to find you, you are God. Like, the only person Uncle Sam has not been able to find was Angela Davis. Outside of that, anybody who the government wanted to find, they found. Perfect example. The government went to Venezuela a few days ago and kidnapped their president from another country. And you telling me they can't find you in Oklahoma? What are we talking about? We never had privacy in the United States in the first place. So what are all the conspiracy theorists talking about? Oh, they're building Big Brother. Big Brother been here, baby. You swipe your Visa at every liquor store around every liquor store you go to. You had no privacy in the first place. That car that you drive has a license plate on it. Every time you go through a street camera, your destination is tracked. If Big Brother wanted to find you, they could just shut off your bank account. And guess what? You won't come knocking on Big Brother's door to be like, yo, what's good, man? What's going on? AKA the IRS. Let's be honest here, baby. We ain't never had a level of privacy in this country. So when I hear the conspiracy theorists talk about, oh, Big Brother is now being built, baby, it is 2026. People voluntarily put cameras on their front porches. If Uncle Sam wants to find you, you're done. Sorry to say it. You're done. So now that that's out the way, the real thing that I think is going to change the sentiment around Palantir this year is actually war. The only thing that Americans can stand behind and say, let's put our differences aside, is our military. That is the one thing that Americans will say, I don't care if you're racist. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. When it comes to America fighting some other country, it's us versus them all day. And because of that, I think 2026 is already off to a great start. If you didn't guess it, of course, Palantir is helping out our military. When America starts doing more, wild stuff like kidnapping presidents from other countries, which is insane. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. Our government kidnapped another president. And to be fair, I don't know much about Venezuela. I'm going to be very honest. I don't know much about Venezuela. But I do know it is wild to say that we captured another president. And to be fair, this is not the first time. This is just the first time where we're like, we're going to take a photo of it, bruh. And we're going to post it on the internet. We know that America has always had its hands in toppling over other countries. We saw this happen with Haiti. We've seen this happen plenty of other times. But, for the guy to be in the helicopter, and then one of our Delta 6 soldiers snaps a photo and be like, hey, we caught him, selfie, is insane. But you know what? The one thing that we as all Americans can get behind, for better or worse, the one thing we can all get behind is war. We never want to lose a war. Now, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. You don't want to lose a war now, do you? You don't want to have our soldiers go out and, get hurt. We never want to see that as Americans. And in this year where we're starting this off with a bang, and again, I want to be very, very clear. I don't know too much about Venezuela. I don't know too much about their politics. I heard that he was a dictator. I also heard that we went in and kidnapped him from his compound that he was hiding out at. I do know that we have done these sorts of tactics before. What I saw on the internet after, though, was like a lot of people celebrating. I'm just laying out what I saw. I saw a lot of people on the internet celebrating, and I was just like, oh, I guess this is slightly positive. I'm still doing my research. I'm still trying to figure out why, we wanted to do this. I think so far it looks very similar to what we did with the Middle East. We wanted their opioids, so we decided to create a war to get over there, grab all their opioids. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world, outside of like the Gulf. So, finally, I guess we said, hey, we got an excuse to come in, take that oil. And yeah, we'll say it's for, a dictator. But I'm like, well, there's other dictators. Are we going to kidnap them too? I don't know. I'm just sharing my thoughts here. But nonetheless, I can't speak intelligently about this Venezuela thing. But all I'm seeing are like, we kidnapped the president. We took a photo of their president on our helicopter. We kidnapped him from his compound. This looks like early signs of war, for lack of better words. And the one thing that we as Americans can get behind is war. And then we start to realize the golden child of war is Palantir. Palantir no longer is a surveillance company spying on us. It's a company that is allowing us to go in and dominate other countries. We don't like the way you moving, buddy. We don't like the way you moving. We're going to come and take your president. It's just insane to say this out loud. Imagine if we just got to take this in. No, you're going to wait and you're going to listen or you're going to leave talking about, can you get past the war thing? No, bro, I'm here talking. Somebody gave me this example. I think I was talking to Courtney. Imagine if Russia or China said, we don't like this guy Trump. Understand? We don't like this guy Trump. So we're going to come and kidnap him. What? This will be World War III. Imagine if Russia, Putin, or Xi Jinping came out and said, we don't like you, Trump. We're going to kidnap you. That would be insane. But we just did that to another country. And you know what? We got the military to do it. Nobody comes close to the American military. And I think this may be a year where Trump starts reminding people that we got guns and nuclear weapons all around the world. And all of that benefits this entire narrative about Palantir. Palantir becomes the golden child, reminding us of just how strong and powerful we are relative to the rest of the world. We can do all of these things without dropping a single bomb because we have technology on where your compound is in your country. And we're going to fly overseas to snatch you up, you and your wife, from your hidden compound. And, again, we can do this over and over. Like, think about how much intelligence we have to go to your country, in your city, in your town, where you are the president and have all of the resources, and snatch you up. That means our intelligence is insane. Guess who is powering all of that intelligence? And those are the sort of things where, like, we as Americans, we get to celebrate. Like, yeah. I guess we did do that. We did do that. Those things Americans can get behind. Whether or not you like what happened with Venezuela, I didn't see many people complaining about it. I actually saw a lot of people celebrating the fact that we flew to another person's country and took their president. So you're already seeing the early signs. I think 2026 is going to be a lot more of that. Palantir is going to be a main benefactor of a potential war if there is one in 2026. And bam, I put my stamp on that one. I think Palantir is going to have a good old year because of it. Not only do they make a lot of money, but um, so GSC was a little context here. GSC in the chat is a black man. This is the first time I have ever seen black people being like, "Hey, that is my guy," referring to Trump. Somebody said, "How can a dictator be mad at a dictator?" Ooh, that's a spicy take. Asking as a vet, that's another spicy take. Again, I don't have strong opinions here, but I will say the reaction that people had on the internet about us kidnapping their president or dictator. And I see people correcting me. It was a dictator, not a president. I don't care. I'm saying a leader of their own country. We saw our country kidnap, arrest, seize, whatever, another president. Just that alone is wild. And I'm like, those sorts of things remind you as an American all the little benefits you get, all the little privileges you have. Saying like, yeah, we know one thing, ain't nobody invading America. That's the one thing we can say confidently. Ain't nobody coming over here taking our president. And whether or not you like Trump, you ain't nobody stupid enough to come over here and try to take Trump. People can stand behind that. Palantir is going to have a phenomenal year because of that. Now, final prediction, number 5. We've been on 1 hour and 12 minutes. I totally forgot to remind people. But I will do this on Thursday, which is if we get to 100,000 likes, I will share my number 1 stock for the year. Hold me to it for Thursday. Not number 1. I'll share one of my top stocks for the year. That is if we get to 100,000 likes. Last prediction for 2026. And I want to be very clear about this. I want to be very, very clear. On one hand, I think there's going to be a lot of pain in the stock market. On the other hand, for the smart investors, I think it's going to be a phenomenal year. This year is going to look very, very different in the stock market. This year, I think we are going to see what I am coining. I am giving this a term. I am calling it the beautiful correction. Why is it a beautiful correction? It's a beautiful correction because the winners keep winning, but you're going to have to lean on the fundamentals. You are not going to be able to find what are those companies that are dominating just by like, oh, go buy NVIDIA. No. You are going to have to recognize that the stock market goes through cycles, especially technology. It goes hype, correction, concentration. I'll say that again. These cycles are predictable. Hype. Oh my God, just buy anything. Oh my God, just buy anything. That's hype. That was a lot of 2025. Correction. Oh my God, it's crashing. That was end of 2025. Concentration is the next step. Concentration means the winners win aggressively. Everybody else, meh. You're going to look at companies that dominated in 2025 that are going to look very meh in 2026. And you're going to be like, man, I thought that was a good company. And you're going to be like, bruh, you didn't look at the data anymore. It changed. People were buying that stock only because of hype. They weren't buying it because it was such an amazing company. This is going to be a phenomenal year for people who pay attention to fundamentals. But you're going to see a lot of pain for all the people who just buy a random Stock because they heard of it. As an example, perfect example. Somebody is going to be like, Meta, yeah, that's an AI company. I should really buy it. It's going to do well in 2026. Bro, did you not watch the video? Did you not hear what we just said about how when you look at the numbers, Meta has no leadership right now that can lead them to the finish line. They need time to figure it out. But somebody is going to think that the same stocks that were good last year are going to be the same ones that are good this year. And you could be further from the truth. Concentration is the theme of this year. The winners are going to win aggressively, and everybody else is going to be feeling some pain. You aren't going to be able to lean on vibes anymore in 2026. Wow, that was really cool. Detroit Tony. I don't know what that was, but that was cool. I've never seen that. Thank you. Thank you for that, Detroit Tony. I see the word galaxy. I think that's like a big deal on TikTok because that was a big deal right at the bottom. Thank you, Detroit Tony. I've never seen I don't think I've ever seen a galaxy. Can somebody tell me what that does on TikTok? But that was really cool to see. I'm getting sidetracked here, but somebody is going to be like, oh yeah, I heard Meta's a great AI company. Vibes. And then they're going to go out and buy it. When we just sat here for a whole hour and a half to be like, look, Meta may not have the best year. Be mindful. Unless you're a long-term investor, be mindful. Vibes won't work in 2026. Vibes will not work in 2026. Fundamentals are going to matter even more. The companies that are going to do well are going to be the companies that have strong fundamentals, bringing in revenue. It's not going to be based on vibes anymore. It's not going to be based on, I just think. Hey, look at that one. It's not going to be based on, I just think that it's going to be good. So I'm putting some money in there. No. Vibes won't work in 2026. Vibes were the thing of 2025. If you want to save yourself, leave that in the past. If you're doing this investing thing on your own, get to the research. If you're on Benson, we already share the research with you. We've already started concentrating your portfolios towards some of the best, most exciting ones. This is where I think we are going, and to be fair, 2025 was a phenomenal year. But I think the gap between the smart people and the regular people is going to get incredibly wide. And that's because regular people are leaning on vibes. Smart people are leaning on the numbers. We did a whole little video on like numbers versus narrative, numbers versus narrative, numbers versus narratives. Two narratives I've already put my money on that are going to flip. And then the numbers are going to become more important, Palantir and Tesla. But again, this happens all the time. Let's look at history here because this is not just an opinion. Detroit Tony said, Benson account did better than my retirement account. I got to say that again. Detroit Tony, thank you for throwing that out there because those are facts. Detroit Tony just said, Benson account did better than my retirement account and my deferred. He followed up and left another message and said, and my deferred account. When you have AI that is doing the research, doing the execution for you, doing the hard work, you get to sit back and let AI work for you. When most people start to realize that they can make money off of AI, that's when stuff gets really exciting. Sade said, mine's too. She also uses Benson. Somebody said, what stocks are going to be winners in 2026? Guess what? That is already shared for everybody that is on Benson. Now, everybody on Benson has access to all of this information already. And more importantly, the AI is already positioning and switching things up. It's already doing the work. I love that. Devil Dog said that he shares some of the Benson predictions with his financial advisor. Coach's Order said, are my messages getting blocked? No, I can see you here in the chat. What were you saying? I missed that. But my heads up for anybody that is not on Benson. Of course, I'd love for you to go and download Benson, use the app, allow Benson to do your investing for you. I would love that. But I understand some people want to figure things out the hard way. If you want to figure things out the hard way, do your research on your stocks. Don't listen to your vibes. Don't just be like, oh yeah, it did well last year. I think it should be fine this year. Dig into the numbers. And more importantly, make sure you have a process for controlling your emotions when the stock market goes up and goes down. All of those things are the difficult parts about investing. The research, the knowing what to do when the stock goes down, when to call it quits, when to buy more, when to like really hammer in and buy aggressively. All those things are the difficult parts about investing. I could tell you our top 100 stocks, and I can guarantee you that you still won't do half as good as everyone else on Benson. And it's because when that stock goes down, you're going to panic and you're going to sell. You're going to doubt, and then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And then Benson, on the other hand, is going to automatically do what is best. Stick to the process. Stick to the fundamentals. Buy, reevaluate, buy more, sell if needed, all automatically. Coach's orders said, do I have to be in the CEO club to really scale on Benson? The CEO club, you do get extra perks for free. That's not an extra charge. But there are 3 things that you need to do in order to get into the CEO club on Benson. If you are not there yet, write this down, coach's orders, so that you have a good idea of the milestones that you're aiming for. Number 1, and this is, cool. Coach's order said, I'm missing only one thing. There are 3 things you need to do in order to get into the CEO club on Benson. CEO club means that, hey, you're going to be on, I'm going to have you test early ideas with me. I'm going to hit you up for feedback. I'm going to give you early access to new things, X, Y, and Z. You need 3 things to be in the club, though. Number 1, you need to show consistency. You need to make sure that, Benson is able to invest for you every single week. 10 weeks, a 10-week streak of allowing Benson to consistently invest for you. Why? Because that says that you are not one of the people who just look at investing as like a game. You're serious about your money. Consistency gets you in. Number 2, you need to be investing at least $50 every week. And last but not least, you need to show that you're making progress. And the way that you do that is allowing us to get your portfolio up to cross $1,000. You hit those 3 things, and then you can, submit, and then you're joining the CEO club. What I tend to do for people in the CEO club is I'll hit them up and be like, hey, by the way, we got a new feature. I can have you test it out early if you want to. I'll run the automation for you now. X, Y, and Z. Approve, deny. Hey, you have an idea you want to share about feedback. Let me know so that I can, jump on this as quickly as possible. It is a helpful tool, but you have to show that you are also, locked in and focused as well. And that's not to say anything about you, coach's orders. I think the biggest thing that stops people is that they break their streak. The streak, by the way, CEO Club is directly inside of Benson. Open the home screen of Benson, click on profile. You will see join CEO Club, or you'll see, hey, you're already in the CEO Club. I'll shoot you a text message immediately after you join as well, just to let you know. Yeah, the hardest thing for people, I will tell you right now, the hardest thing for most people is that they want to invest for 2 weeks and be like, oh, I should get rich. I should be rich now. And I'm like, no. Be consistent. Be consistent. 10 weeks of consistently investing. Like, to be fair, one of my New Year's resolutions is to really, run a marathon. Ain't no way I get to run for 2 weeks and be like, I'm prepared for a marathon. I'm running for 4 months straight to prepare for this marathon. 3 times a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. I'm getting out there and I'm putting on my running shoes, running in 20-degree weather because I need to prepare for the big thing, which is the marathon. That's called consistency. And coach's orders, this is not directed at you. I say this because most people really struggle with consistency. Stephanie just dropped a huge point. Stephanie's streak right now is 50 weeks straight. I want to say that again. Stephanie's streak right now is 50 weeks straight. No misses. No misses. Every single week for the last 50 weeks, Stephanie has been investing. Consistency. And the good thing is, of course, it is, after you set it up, it's automated. All you're doing is just making sure that, you're doing your part. But it's 90% automated. GSC, what's your streak on Benson? Coach's order said, oh, wow, 38 weeks straight for GSE. Good job. Good job. Coach's order said, what's my streak? Open Benson, and you will be able to see your streak. Wow, Jackie, 43 weeks straight. Peaches, 43 weeks straight. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be very vulnerable here. I'm going to even show you. Hold up. Every, hold up. Too much good news rolling in. Too much good news. Chris Davis just said, hold on, I got to rewind this. Chris Davis just said his Roth IRA in the last 3 years did 19%. In the last 3 years, did 19%. Benson did 17% in 1 year for him. On top of that, every single person that just dropped their streak has a streak that is better than mine. This makes me feel bad but good at the same time. You guys are quite literally beating me at my own game. I'm going to read this off. Hold up. This is insane. Stephanie, her streak is 50 weeks straight. GSE, 38 weeks straight. Jackie, 43 weeks straight. Peaches, 43 weeks straight. Keisha, 40 weeks straight. Kimberly Draft. By the way, I remember onboarding Kimberly Draft one-on-one. She was using the app when it was really, really crappy. She came back day after day after day to make sure that we jumped on a call to get it set up. Her streak right now, 50 weeks straight. Jean-Marc Charles, 50 weeks straight. Mr. Gemini, 50 weeks straight. Tramp0903, that is the handle. I'm not calling anyone out of their name. 49 weeks straight. Janice, 60 weeks straight. Jackie, I'm up 33%. Chewy, 59 weeks straight. Chris, 50 weeks straight. Dr. CG, 57 weeks. Gerald Bennett, 58 weeks. Poison Ivy, 31. Dornella, 20. Queen D, 35. Detroit Tony just dropped in and said, hey, Benson did 30% for him last year. By the way, the stock market did 15%. Jay Fox just at 38 weeks straight. Lisa just at 19 weeks straight. I want to be very clear. Every single person has a streak better than me. I won't even lie. And to make it clear, to really put myself out there, every single person that just dropped their streak is doing better than me right now in terms of my streak. I broke my streak. And I'm actually going to show you what my streak is. Just to let you know, y'all are really beating me at my own game here. And granted, it was an accident, but I was frustrated when I realized that I broke my streak. My streak, and I'm going to show you. Hold up, let that slide in. My streak is actually 7 weeks. I accidentally deleted my recurring deposit. My streak broke, and there was a week, 8 weeks ago, where I did not invest, and it killed me because I created this just to remind, I'm not even gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. I created the streak because I need to remind myself consistency is the game. I want to see that progress. I want to see that number go up. And granted, we don't even do a good job of promoting just a streak or whatnot. But it's there. It's right on the home screen because I'm like, hey, this is your number to say, are you consistent? Like, you cannot run a marathon and train for 2 weeks. You cannot, hit 100K in your brokerage account and be like, oh, I'm only going to invest for 2 weeks. Streaks are your measure of your consistency. Are you being consistent? Are you putting your money where your values actually are? You're saying, hey, I want to do well with my money. I want to, do well in the stock market. I want to set myself up for generational wealth. But your streak is 7? What are you doing? My streak is actually 7. So every single person here has beat my streak. I want to say congrats to all of y'all. Congrats to all of y'all. I'm sort of frustrated. I won't lie. I don't like losing. I really, if my streak was 30, I'm like, cool, I'm not the worst. But literally, I have the worst streak in the chat right now. It's cool, though. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Y'all doing better than me is good. It's good. But every single person, Patrice, streak is 47 weeks. Easter, 13 weeks straight. Kenny, my guy, good to see ya. Good to see ya. Kenny, I owe you a FaceTime call back. I will jump on that. My bad. Wow. Marnay, 31 weeks straight. Boss Ben, 26 weeks straight and reached an investment milestone. I want to show y'all something actually because it has been a few weeks. We have released a few things. We've released a few things. Let me show y'all a few things actually. We released a feature inside of Benson that gives you an idea of how much money you're going to have at the end of this investing journey. Some people may or may not have realized it. Everybody always has the question of like, oh, how much money can I make off of this investing stuff? That is math. We can show you that number. And in fact, inside of Benson, we do show you that number. So quick little thing for everybody that is on Benson. And I'm actually going to show you guys my numbers here. Now, look. I already told y'all my streak is not as good as y'all. It's okay. Do not clown me. Right now, I'm about to show you something inside of Benson in case you have not seen this. I think we should have done a better job of releasing it. We didn't. It's fine. Let me share this with y'all now. Inside of Benson, 1, we set up your milestones for you. We're letting you know, hey, you are, that percentage of the way there. This is the next big thing. Oh, let me press back because I want y'all to see. I want y'all to see it. Hold on. The next milestone that I am literally working towards right now is $5,750. That is the next big milestone for my personal Benson account. And of course, Benson is handling all the investing to get me there. If you click on that, you are actually going to see a projection of where your portfolio is going based on different time frames. For me, I am 30 years old. No, I'm 31 now, y'all. If you click on that milestone right there, it's going to show you your projection. And that projection is, again, of where you are marching towards. This number here, this is actually just math. It is saying, yo, by retirement, if I'm sticking to this plan, I am having $964K. This lets you know where you are going. And I want to be very clear here. Those numbers are based on two things. One, you being consistent, aka not breaking your streak. Two, average. And I mean average returns in the stock market. Every single person that just dropped their percentages, thank you for sharing it. Every single person has a better return than what the app is projecting. We are showing you a conservative number. I felt like the most important thing was just that people don't invest because they don't realize just how much money they could make off of this game. Hold on. I want y'all to see this as well, so y'all know I'm not making this up. I quite literally have Benson investing, and I'm going to show you my numbers here. Don't laugh at me because I know some of y'all got more money than me. It's cool. I have Benson literally investing this dollar amount every single week. Every single week, that is the dollar amount. Oh, I don't want to leave the CEO club. Every single week, that is the amount that I have Benson investing for me. That's it. Everybody here has a higher budget than me. I won't even lie. But even with investing that dollar amount every week, my projection is still a really healthy number as long as I stick to it. This is what consistency looks like. And more importantly, the app is literally telling you, hey, be consistent. This is what you're marching towards. That's it. That's the game. Be consistent. That is why that streak is actually there. To say, are you being consistent? And by the way, everybody, again, is doing better than me. Now, I just had to share that. That was one of those things. Yeah. Oh, and then while we're here, I am going to show you some of the returns that my account has seen. Somebody said 28 a week and you can get to 900K. Yes. And again, if you go through the app, sign up, you are going to see what is your actual number based on your age and your budget. Like everybody else has different numbers. If you are on Benson, what is your projection number? Like everybody has different numbers. That number is based on your age, your weekly budget. And if I were to increase my weekly budget, that projection increases because I'm saying, hey, I can invest more than $28 every week. ATL Home Matchmaker said, can you check my account? It's been a while since I've been able to hop on. Tell me why you are not able to hop on, Felicia. GSC is at 4.3 million for his projection. Now, GSC is clearly a high roller. He is able to do, I don't know, that's a few $100s a week. And I want to be very, very clear. People are going to say, hey, I'm too old. I started late. I want you to understand, getting to retirement and having $200,000 is still more than the average person. So it does not matter what age you are starting. Now, granted, of course, time works to your advantage here. But let's be clear. Something is going to be better than nothing. Dornella, tell me what is your projection number? Dornella, I am curious. What is your projection number? Detroit Tony, his projection number is 8 million. Dornella's number is 4 million. These numbers are custom to you. All you have to do is lock in and be consistent. Let the tool work for you. Poulin Wright said his number is 1.8 million. Boss Ben said, I want my milli. Be consistent. That's it. That's the game. People really think that like you need a lot of money to hit that $1 million mark. You need either a lot of time or a lot of money. Now, to be fair, your life is going to be fine if you had $500,000. Your life is going to be fine if you had 200K. So let's not ignore that. But the whole point of that feature was that we wanted to remind you that this is what we are marching towards. Lock in, be consistent. And to be fair, that number that we're showing you is still conservative. Felicia, her number is 3 mil. And by the way, There is a button. Everybody who is inside of Benson, there is a button where you can share this whole calculation that we run. You can share that calculation with anybody. And what I mean by that is you can send that link to your friend. There's a link right here. You can send that link to your friend and say, hey, figure out what your numbers are. Everybody wants to know how much money they could make off of this investing game. That's it. You could quite literally send that to them. That is it. It's really that simple. Somebody asked, can you explain what Benson does? Of course, I can. Actually, Benson is your AI investing app that does all of your investing for you automatically. We research thousands of stocks each month and show you our best 10. Once you approve the ones you like, we take care of the rest, buying and selling all automatically. That's it. Benson is our AI investing app that does all of your investing for you. Plain and simple. Every month, we're going to share with you our top 10 stocks. You're going to say, hey, I like those 4, 5, whatever. And then Benson is just going to say, cool, I'll take care of the rest. Make sure that there's money in your account. We'll take care of the rest. That's it. It's really that simple. Courtney just said, take a breath. Wrap up so that I can get up for my run in the morning. I have literally been on for 1 hour and 42 minutes. Yeah, I've been on for a while. So let me summarize what were the 5 predictions for the year. Number 1, Google becomes one of the most important AI companies. Excuse me, y'all. Google becomes one of the most important AI companies all year. Elon Musk has a rebound year. Has a nice rebound year. Number 3, Meta, pretty flat, pretty boring, nothing phenomenal. Number 4, Palantir becomes a darling child again. Number 5, the year of concentration. You can't run off of vibes for this year. You need to be into the research if you are doing this on your own. Of course, if you're on Benson, you have a tool that is doing all the buying, selling, research for you, all automatically. Happens all automatically. But if you're trying to do this on your own, I beg you, don't go out and just buy one of these stocks off of vibes. You will regret it. A lot of people are going to get hurt in the stock market this year because vibes won't work. You need to, 1, be doing the research, or be on Benson, of course. For the people that are on Benson, Benson has already started making changes to your portfolio. It's already started to shift for what's happening this year. That is what I have for today. That's really it. It is time for me to run. Yeah, it is 9:30. I'm definitely behind. I was supposed to be on for an hour. J Card said, I'd love to connect for you for a one-on-one. I don't do one-on-ones. There's just a lot of people. I think we have like over 40,000 downloads. I don't really do one-on-ones. However, with that said, I do text people if they are jumping on Benson. Thank you, Courtney, for keeping me on track. Felicia said, or should I text you? Yeah, you have my number, Felicia. I'm tired, y'all. But with that said, this was a great live for me. Somebody said we made it to 100K. The goal is for Thursday to get to 100K. So let's do that for Thursday. I'll be sure to share a stock that I'm pretty excited about. We do not have an Android version. Jay Cart said, I'll text you to follow up. Um, Felicia, just saw your text message. Um, um, Marnay said, "What's number 5?" I guess I did not. I really didn't dive into the data there. Number 5, Marnay, was that this is going to be a year of concentration. What that means is that most people are going to get hurt in the market because they think about it from the angle of vibes. Oh, Meta sounds cool. Meta has a AI, is an AI company. I should just invest there, not realizing that Meta is really struggling right now. You cannot go on vibes. You need to go on fundamentals. You need to really say, hey, do the numbers make sense? We've seen these sort of patterns before. People get excited, it corrects, and then there's a concentration where the real winners start to really take the lead. We are going to see the real winners take the lead this year. And the lead is going to be drastic. You're going to see some companies return 50+%, while companies that were good last year are going to do 5%. It is going to be terrible for people who just go based on their feelings. It's going to be phenomenal for people that are using data, of course, using AI and Benson to do the research for them and the buying and selling and all of that. But I just beg you that if you are trying to do this investing thing on your own, do not go off of vibes. You're going to be like, oh, I saw this interesting stock on, Reddit. I just bought $1,000 of it. Why? Did you look at their numbers? Did you not realize that that was a penny stock that nobody has credible research on? I beg you, I beg you, I beg you. If you're doing this thing on your own, cut the vibes. Look at the numbers before you put your hard-earned money there. For people on Benson, you're good. We're sharing you the research. Benson will literally explain the stock to you as well. But that is all that I have for today. Yeah, I'm tired, y'all. What else do I need to say? I will be back Thursday. Somebody said, gotta get my streak up. Bruh, who you telling? Everybody here got a better streak than me. Just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And the thing is, I can't even tweak my streak. Like it's just set in stone. I can't change it just because I made a mistake. Like it's really just who cares? I can't even change my own streak. It sucks, man. But everybody got a streak better than me. I'm proud of y'all. With that said, I'm out. Good night. I will be back on Thursday, 7:30 Eastern. That is all that I have. This video is on YouTube as well. It is there.